a single task, and up to a third of the population struggles with mental illness. When people fail to reach their goals, it is rarely due to a lack of talent or skill. Failure is more often a result of an inability to self-regulate attention in the moments that matter. This cross-section shows the biological root of that failure, a state of dyssynchrony. Here in the center, your limbic system, the fight-or-flight center, is running on overdrive. It actively draws power away from your prefrontal cortex, leaving your executive control center dimmed and unresponsive. To address this, we use a protocol centered on 5-minute daily sessions. These sessions are not an instant fix, but a method for consistently signaling to the brain that the executive center, not the survival system, must lead. Without establishing this physical control over the prefrontal cortex, your ambitions remain restricted by the biological autopilot of your limbic system. The protocol utilizes a structured tool set, a dedicated deck of 30 brain-building strategy cards. This provides one clear, actionable task for each day to keep the process consistent. The most vulnerable point of your day is the moment you wake up. Without an immediate, intentional task, the brain often defaults straight into rumination and anxiety. You can counter this by taking 10 deep, purposeful nasal breaths the exact moment you wake up. This is a physical requirement to start the transition from a sleep state to an executive state. This visual shows our morning primer card, which lists the exact verbal affirmation to pair with your breathing. As you exhale, state, "Today I will lead with clarity. Today is my day." This sequence acts as a biological circuit breaker. It forces the prefrontal cortex to activate and take command before the fight-or-flight system has the opportunity to dictate your mood. We applied Parkinson's law to these exercises by setting a rigid 5-minute boundary. By giving the brain a strict command to focus for this exact window, you ensure the task is executed without the friction of a long time commitment. Building prefrontal capacity requires working through the vagus nerve, the body's master regulatory system. Increasing your vagal tone is the physical pathway to lowering stress and re-engaging the front of the brain. This timer illustrates the breath regulation reset. Inhale slowly through your nose for 4 seconds. Once full, hold that breath for a 2-second pause. Now, release the air with a steady 6-second exhale. Hold empty for 2 seconds before repeating the cycle for 10 rounds. This measured breathing physically forces the vagus nerve out of survival mode. By regulating your heart rhythm, you restore the blood flow and power necessary for the prefrontal cortex to function. Even with a morning routine, you will encounter midday challenges, sudden spikes of doubt, fear, or the urge to flee a difficult task. When these moments occur, use the self-talk upgrade protocol. Immediately state, "I am in charge of my thoughts." By consciously claiming ownership of a thought, you move it from an automatic limbic reaction to a conscious executive observation. This strips the thought at its autonomic power over your behavior. While these tactics offer immediate control, long-term structural change in the brain takes time. To achieve lasting neuroplasticity, you must complete 3 consecutive 30-day cycles, 90 days total. This image of Stanford University represents the source of research into these routines. Published data suggests that consistent, simple routines are what effectively alter heart-brain coherence and regulate the vagus nerve over time. To reach that 90-day milestone, follow the ABC rule. Always be consistent. Mental performance is built through daily dedication, not through occasional bursts of extreme effort. High-level mental performance is the result of regulating your underlying emotions over long time horizons. By consistently managing your physical state, you are methodically altering the physical structure of your brain. Committing to this 5-minute daily investment leads to measurable changes, strengthened neural pathways, improved emotional regulation, and a sustained capacity for focus. You can begin your first cycle by acquiring the 30-day strategy deck in either a digital or physical format at limitlessbrainacademy.com. For parents of 15 and 16-year-olds, applications are now open for the T1 Super Brain Accelerator. This 40-hour program leverages the specific pruning and neuroplasticity that occurs during adolescence. It uses project-based learning to methodically craft pathways for focus and emotional regulation during this unique biological window. Your brain is a system that responds to your commands. Taking deliberate control of the prefrontal cortex is the physical foundation for the decision-making and regulation required to reach your long-term goals.